Way of Rhea is a puzzle adventure. You've returned to your hometown, which has a tradition of puzzle solving, and there's a set of puzzles that are really important to their culture, and you've decided, I'm going to solve these puzzles. It has hard puzzles, but forgiving mechanics. Throughout the story, you'll meet a bunch of characters, some of whom want to help you, some of whom do not want you to solve the puzzles. You interact with them, learn what their motivations are, explore the world, and eventually kind of unlock the mysteries of your hometown. Yeah, so my journey to become an indie dev was kind of non-linear in a lot of ways. I remember being 10 years old and making first-person shooters in this open source game engine called Dim3. A lot of my friends didn't have internet back then, so I would print out screenshots of them and bring them to school to show people. I never worked for like AAA game companies. I didn't really like the idea of crunching all the time and having no time to kind of be my own person and live my life and work on projects that I care about. And so I would, go work for these tech companies, come home, and then I would mess around with game stuff just as a hobby. I didn't see it as a career or a thing I could take seriously until I moved to New York City and I found this organization called Playcrafting. They host meetups and events and stuff for indie game developers. And I figured, hey, I like making games. Let's check out this event and see what it's like. And what I found was that there were a bunch of people just like me who were often working day jobs, but then in their free time, making games. And some of them were just doing it for fun, but some of them were taking it seriously. And some of them had a plan. They really were actually trying to turn their games into their jobs. And I realized if these people can take their projects seriously, then why can't I? That was a big moment for me, realizing like this can be a real thing. It doesn't just have to be a thing I'm doing for fun. And the truth is I did not enjoy working at those tech companies. I didn't find the work very engaging, so I was looking for a way out. And that indie games just became my way out. It became the I'm not gonna have to work at boring corporate jobs forever. I'm going to get out. I'm going to go and just make games. That's eventually what I want to have happen, and then everything kind of became focused on getting there. What I did is I signed up for a Playcrafting Expo without a game, and I told Dan, hey, I don't have a game, but I will have a game in a week once the expo goes live. Can I be part of the expo? And for some reason he said yes. Thank you, Dan. When we were deciding what to build for that prototype, we only had 8 days, and I figured, well, I don't want to do an action game, because for an action game, you have to actually have really good feeling controls. It has to feel really juicy. You have to have good scenarios to put the player into. You have to have good enemies. There's just a lot of stuff that you have to have in a short period of time. Whereas the puzzle game, you really do want all of those things by the time the game's done. But for a prototype, I felt that good puzzles were enough to kind of show off, hey, this is a promising game. Turns out good puzzles are really hard to make, and I spent almost the entire 8 days just making the first 3 puzzles of that prototype. So I guess it was the overconfidence, really, is what led me to make puzzle games. I wanted to get something done fast, and I actually had a kind of document written up 10 years before that about the idea for Way of Rhea. It was a very different game idea at the time, but it had the puzzle mechanics in it. And I was like, great, I'm just gonna take this thing I already wrote up a long time ago, and I know it's good because I forgot the solution to the example puzzle and had to solve it myself, and had a lot of fun solving it. So I was like, great, I had a lot of fun solving that example puzzle from that document I don't even remember writing 10 years ago. Let's build that game. So the game's coming along well. I am wrapping up working on the last set of puzzles for the main game right now. And once I finish that, then the only puzzles left are the end game puzzles, which to me are maybe the most exciting, but also probably the easiest to make. Because I don't want to spoil everything, but I kind of know where I'm going with them. Once I get those puzzles done, we still have some artwork we need to do. There are still levels that have just kind of a debug view where you can play them, but they don't look nice. Some of the puzzles are kind of disconnected. I know what order they'll go in the level, but they're not actually hooked up to each other. And there's a bunch of narrative work to do. We have a bunch of characters that you meet throughout the game. and some of them are in the game and some of them are not yet, and some of them are sort of half in the game where they're there but they're not animated yet, stuff like that. There is still a lot of work left to do. None of that stuff is trivial, but it definitely feels like things are finally, since we started in 2018, it feels like things are finally kind of coming to a close. It feels like the end is in sight. If you like games like Portal, Braid, Talos Principle, if those are in your top games ever list, then Way of Rhea is specifically designed for you. You can check out the free demo on Steam right now, and if you do, I'd love to hear your feedback. Contact info is in the game itself. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy Way of Rhea.